to deal with this. It's all possible. Now I'm sure you must have heard a very common sentence said by a very famous person. You can achieve what your mind can conceive. Has anybody heard that?
Yes.
Now first of all, in order to understand what is the fourth dimension, we need to understand what is the mind. Now all of you have a mind, I'm sure you all know that, right? But where is it? Not here. Here is we have a brain, right? We don't have a mind. So where do we have a mind? Somewhere. It's there. Yet we don't know where it is. Now, let me first make a distinction between what we understand as a brain and what we understand as a mind. Brain is a computer. All of you use computer in your home. But this is a bio. It's a living thing. And this living computer is such a faithful servant. It will obey all commands that you give. And unfortunately, the brain does not have a brain of its own. So it cannot think beyond the realm, the matrix that it lives in. It cannot think beyond that. So the brain has a limited capacity. It works on the five senses. To a certain limit, you can see, you can hear certain sounds. Above 20,000 dB, below 20 dB, you cannot hear a sound, but a bat can, a shark can. So our senses have limitation, and because senses have limitation, the brain that is connected with these senses, they also have limitation. Now it is in this limited capacity that we operate and function as human beings. So whatever you are today, whether you are a student, a business person, an executive, a professional, a housewife, you are limited because your brain thinks in a limit. And this is what we call living within the matrix. Now some people are able to think beyond the limitation. And if you observe the lives and paradigms and mindsets and beliefs of such people, we find that they have the capacity to be able to go beyond what is immediate. To us, the immediate is the end. That's it. We cannot think beyond the immediate. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Graham Bell, you must have heard about Graham Bell, my phone. The guy who made the telephone, because it reminds me of Graham Bell. This is called an anchor. He made the telephone, the first telephone pole. And he wanted to use the same instrument to call his wife and his daughter. He couldn't. Do you know why? Because both were deaf. Mozart, one of the greatest music composers in the world, his father took him to a teacher and he wanted Mozart to learn to sing. And after a few days the teacher sent him back saying that he cannot learn how to sing because he has a problem with hearing. He cannot listen properly, he cannot hear properly. And one day the same guy who cannot hear properly becomes one of the top musical composers. Now, for music you need hearing, right? Milton, the famous writer, he was blind. For writing a book you need to have eyes. To create music you need to have ears. And yet these people who could not hear properly, could not see at all, and the person who used to fail in maths, Einstein, they were able to do amazing things. How? This is the secret, and this is what I wish to share with you. How is this possible? These people were used to go beyond, they could go beyond the limitation of the brain, but not the mind. Let's understand something. In the human brain, there is electricity, tremendous amount, but not enough to kill you, but light a 0-volt bulb. Okay? The electricity from the brain runs throughout the body through nerves. And there are two nerve actions, afferent and efferent. Now, because there is electricity in the brain, there is also voltage. So the scientists divide the different frequency range of the brain into gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. This is not a good number. At the time when you are very angry, agitated, anxious, you are into gamma. This is a hyper state where your blood pressure also goes up. And you need to control yourself, not to go wild. This happens in gamma. Right now, most of you are into beta. And this is our normal range where we function. It is 20 cycles per second or hertz. This is the measuring unit, the human brain electrical cycle. Now this is over 20 CPS. This is 14 to 7 CPS. This is 5 to 2 CPS. And this is unknown. Now I've read biographies and autobiographies of many people. Some of them have been inventors. And one was an amazing story of a person who made the first sewing machine. The guy who made the first sewing machine. In India and Pakistan, of course, still it is very popular. Now this person was stuck. He made everything. The needle was there. The needle would go into the cloth with the thread. But the cloth would leave the thread. It would not keep it intact. Something was wrong. Although apparently to him everything was right. The machine he made was working, but somehow it could not stitch clothes, could not piece two clothes together. One night he was quite upset, didn't know what to do. He fell asleep and he saw a dream. In this dream he saw that he was in a jungle, forest, surrounded by a certain tribe, and apparently they wanted to kill him. So they took them to the chief, and the chief told him, this is a dream that he sees, and the chief tells him that if you, by tomorrow morning, if you do not come up with an idea of how to stitch clothes, then we are going to kill you. Okay. So this is his dream, and suddenly, it's morning and everybody takes him to the chief, and the chief says, did you make that machine? He says, no, I couldn't do it. I worked the whole night. They said, okay, go out, take him out and kill him. So they took him out in an open field, and all of them are ready with the spears to kill him. And as they are about to hit him with the spear, suddenly he sees the spear, an idea comes into his mind, and he says, my God, I have made a mistake. Instead of putting the hole on the top of the needle, it should be at the bottom, at the point, and that changed everything. And today, if you know, the needle has the hole at its peak. Now, what happened? Why was he able to get this idea which he could not think about? Because when he was thinking consciously in an awake state, his brain frequency was beaten. He could not think beyond what was possible. But when he was in a dream state, he was able to get the idea from an amazing source. And this is what we are talking about. See, the moment your brain frequency comes down from 20 cycles per second into lesser, this is where you go to sleep. So there are two worlds that we are talking about. We are talking about this as the third dimension and this as the fourth dimension. This is also called the corporeal world. This is called the incorporeal world. This is the physical world. This is the mental world. The moment you enter across this physical world and go into the non-physical world, this is where you are beyond the limitation of your brain, your prior knowledge, your preconceived ideas, your upbringing, your school knowledge, education knowledge, your physics, your chemistry, your maths. You're beyond all that. You think out of the realm, you think out of the box, you think in a way that gives you an idea about how to solve a certain problem. Now, how does this happen? Again, it is very interesting. First, let me explain what happens. The moment you enter sleep, you are in a different domain altogether. You know that very well, right? In dreams, you may be a king, whereas in a real life, you may be a beggar. But in dreams, nobody stops you from dreaming whatever the dream is. There is no and no ifs and no buts. You may be flying in the air. You may be doing amazing things in your dream. But when you wake up, you suddenly find that you are not what you dreamed you to be. Dream is a wish, a desire that you see when you are asleep. Now, in the awake state, your five senses are connected to your brain. And you're using the conscious part of your mind. So the mind has got two parts. We call it the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The sub basically means under. Unconscious mind is not a state of mind, it is basically when you are not conscious.